past Sunday was insane for sports. You had the Cricket World Cup where India and Pakistan played in the biggest rivalry on the planet. There was Inter versus Juventus in Italy, the Derby d'Italia, which was 1-1. There was PSG versus Olympique Marseille, who had a 0-0 game. Besiktas beat Galatasaray 2-1, while in El Clasico, Real Madrid beat Barcelona 2-1. But I think the biggest game, or well, not the biggest game, but really the biggest shock, I suppose, this weekend was Liverpool versus Man United. Now, don't get me wrong, Ajax beat PSV 5-0 as well on the weekend, but when Liverpool slapped United's almost billion-dollar squad 5-0, well, that's a different magnitude we're talking about. So coming into this game, the two sides could not have been more juxtaposed. Now, both have valuable and talented squads, but while Liverpool have been flying high, not losing a single game all season, United have been in a slump, losing 3 of their last 5 Premier League games and conceding 9 goals in their last 3 games, with 5 against Liverpool. However, throughout the season, the one thing that has been clear is that United has a very reliable offense, scoring fairly consistently. However, when the offense has an off day, United are unable to rely on their defense to get them through games. In the last 3 matches where United did not score, they failed to secure a draw and lost all of them. Including 2 1-0 losses to Villa and West Ham respectively. And when they faced a world-class opponent in Liverpool, they lost a staggering 5-0. We have to be fair in our criticism. Yes, against Liverpool, the United backline looked unorganized and incoherent at times. However, a lot of the blame has to be given to the midfield. Against Liverpool, Fred and Scott McTominay made a combined 1 tackle the whole game. I looked closer at Fred for this season, and well, he has only made about 1.2 interceptions per 90. He makes about 2.6 tackles per 90, but gets dribbled past 2.4 times per 90. He loses more than half the tackles he makes with a success rate of 45%. But that won't be such a bad statistics if he was attempting more tackles like in previous seasons. This is quite poor, especially considering that Fred actually led United in successful tackles for about 3 years, with the 1920 season being especially significant as he averaged about 13.6 recoveries per 90, which are basically just successful tackles. However, defense is not just about tackling and interception. Just holding on to possession is a viable strategy. Here, Fred actually is not as bad as everyone thinks. He has a pass completion of 83%. Majority of these are short passes. He makes about 2.4 successful long balls per 90 and about 2.1 unsuccessful long balls per 90, which is kind of okay, I guess. It's not terrible. It's kind of normal. He's actually, he's okay at holding on to possession, and his style suits the short passing style of United, where, they pass the ball around short and look to counterattack using their wings. But this style also means that his passing stats get a bit of a boost, because teams which play short generally make a lot of successful passes, and defensive midfielders and center backs in general have very high pass completion rates, since, they can just kind of pass the ball amongst themselves, and they're not going to be pressured as much as your forwards or your wingers or your attacking midfielders. Now I used the example of Fred because he had 0 tackles during this Liverpool game and basically contributed nothing but some short passes to United's defensive efforts. But McTominay is also in a similar, marginally better boat. This is really what United's problem is. The reason their defense has struggled so much over these last 5 games is because their defensive midfielders have barely lent a helping hand. There was one particular moment in this game which captures it perfectly. So Liverpool were on a fast counterattack. and Luke Shaw was forced out of position to help bolster the center halves. And Fred was seen jogging, practically walking, back unconcerned with helping out his defenders or even just adding some pressure to Liverpool's attack. Now, Liverpool, on the other hand, were brilliant, and Salah with a hat-trick seems to be in the race for another record-breaking season. In fact, he broke the record for the highest-scoring African footballer in the Premier League in this game with his hat-trick. Is he the best in the world right now? Let us know in the comments below. In this particular game, we saw both teams try to play higher lines, with Liverpool catching Man U offside several times. But in the case of United, it seemed that this was a huge mistake, as time and time again they were caught in counter-attacking situations, with poor Luke Shaw having to make up for Lindelof's poor positioning. This is where the management has to take some blame. Against a side as deadly with the long ball counter as Liverpool, playing a high line is not exactly helpful. But it could have been negated if United could build the same pressure on Liverpool, but United simply do not have a lot of long ball options in their defensive end. Henderson, Van Dijk, Fabinho, the wingbacks, and even Keita are capable of sending a good long ball through. But that simply can't be said for United. Ole and United's recruitment team have spent hundreds of millions, if not billions, by this point, and despite this have not been able to find anyone besides Maguire who can sit deep and deliver the counter-attacking long ball to United's talented wingers and center forwards. This, coupled with the lack of fight from their defensive midfielders this season, means that something like this was coming. United should have expected this. Manchester needs to get their defensive midfielders to start being consistently active on their defensive duties to get them through the season without further embarrassment. But they absolutely need to either find a regista or just any defensive player who can unleash that forward line in either January or the summer. I think that should be their highest priority right now. Now, all credit to Alisson, who had an amazing game once more, Trent, Salah, and honestly the entire Liverpool team for having a great game. There were a few shaky moments for them, but they controlled the game right from the start and capitalized on every United mistake. The Reds are playing Champions level football, and the title race looks even juicier among the top three. Thank you for tuning in to the Wasted Possession podcast. This has been your host, Rish. It's been a pleasure. Make sure to check out the Wasted Possession Draft Premiership on Twitch. Links in the description below. FM22 is out, so, new game, a new dimension. We could see brand new champions. We could see some big upsets. We could see some new heroes rise up. So let's see if the previous crew can maintain their dominance or if it's time for a new dynasty to begin in the Draft Premiership. All Wasted Possession social links are in the description below, so also check them out. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, and peace.